Welcome back, you guys. We're almost there. It is day 9 of our architecture unit, and at this point we should have our house entirely built. So kind of analyze where you're at as I recap what we should have done. If not, we would need to do these things first before we move on. So what do I mean by it must be built? What's like the checklist? Well, it must have 4 or more walls, so sides to the house, a roof. It can either be a peaked roof where it kind of comes up as an upside down V, or it can be flat. Either way is fine. It must have some sort of opening, so it might be a door, it might be a window. There also could be multiples, but there at least has to be one. And then it must be painted. So painting it however you like. I know I've also had some students ask about, well, can I stain it instead of painting it? We didn't provide stain. So first and foremost, staining is not an expectation by any means. We provided paint in your art kits, so everyone should be able to paint, right? If, however, your family has stain at home and your at-home mentor is like, yep, I will help guide you through staining it, I am definitely okay with going that route instead, if you prefer. They are wooden craft sticks, so they will take stain. And you know what? That could be some good practice too. Anyway, so now that we've got it all built, we need to make sure that we're kind of finishing up with the painting. And then don't forget, if you want to, you have the option to do the extra credit, which would be the landscape architecture. All right, so I'm going to kind of cover all of that. We're going to be talking curb appeal, all that fun stuff today. All right, let's switch over our view here. You can see I am set up for painting. You should too. This is acrylic paint. Does not come out of your clothing or any fabric. So if you're sitting on like a nice fabric chair or couch, maybe not the best spot for this portion of this project. I've just got a paper bag, grocery bag down here. I've got a water dish over here, paintbrushes of course, some paint. You can use the paint we gave you. If you've got other paint from at home, that's all right as well. And then of course, my home. Okay. Remember, you can have it so that the top comes off if you want, or you could glue it on. I decided to keep mine off because I think it's kind of nice being able to see inside, and then plus I can show you guys, like, you know, I wanted to keep this so that it can have like, hey, here's a bunch of different options of what it could look like. Like if I turn it this way, you can see now I have one of those homes that's got the open front, and then it doesn't have the scalloped roofing. Anyway, I just thought it'd be nice to have those different examples to show. So anyway, here's what mine is looking like. So I'm going to grab out my paint, choose a color that I think would look good. I'm going to stick with something a little bit more natural. I've got this kind of bronze one I thought might look good. And where was that other one? Crimson. I thought could be kind of cute too. Apparently this is going to look like a gingerbread house or something, like those colors, right? Anyway, here we go. I'm going to do the roof area with the bronze. And if you've got a paper plate or some sort of a painter's palette, that can come in handy for this as well, because then you can mix your colors. Gotta find my painter's palette. Here it is. So yeah, if you like paint this and you're thinking, ooh, you know, that's not quite right, maybe we add a little black or we add a little white to add a tint or a shade. Maybe we add, you know, maybe I like this color, but I just want it to look a little bit more like a brick color. So maybe I add a little bit of that crimson, which is actually probably what I'm going to do for this lower area. But the roof itself, I think I want it to just be kind of like a copper color. I thought that would look cute. So you may have to go over this a couple times, just as a heads up. Paint over it, let it dry. You know, it doesn't take too long, acrylic paints. I would say, depending on the humidity where you're at right now, maybe somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes to dry. And make sure to get in all those little crevices as well. But if you notice after it dries that it kind that it looks a little bit see-through or transparent yet, you can always come back and add a second coat. It's gonna kind of depend on the paint, honestly. Some of them are more opaque, meaning that they are like solid, you can't see through. And some of them are gonna be a little more transparent. It's just gonna depend. So take a look at it. If we need to do a second coat, give it a second coat. Also, if you want to add some dimension, like I've got all these cool details, but it kind of blends in, right? Like it's kind of hard to see. So maybe I'm just putting a little tiny bit of black paint in there. I'm going to mix that with some of my copper color here. Just like that. And I'm going to probably grab a smaller paintbrush for what I'm about to attempt. You can see it's a little bit darker now. So here's a smaller paintbrush. And maybe I come in and just add a little bit of like darkness, a little shadowing, and then blend that through to make those, the shingles pop a little bit more. Might even do a little bit more closer to the edge. So feel free to get a little more artsy with your painting too. Don't feel like it all needs to be a solid color. But you see how like that makes it pop a little bit more? When I add that depth and darkness. Anyway, I would probably do that to all of those. But we're going to paint. Okay, I'm going to paint the roof. I'm going to paint the house. Paint the inside if you want to, especially if that roof does come off and we can like lift it up to see the inside. Great reason to paint the inside, right? So anyway, that is your must for today. Must do. Paint or somehow otherwise decorate our home, whether you're staining it or whatever you choose to do. But we want to make it so it's not just plain sticks like that. Then, of course, we have a base. Once again, you did not have to glue it to your base, but you could if you wanted to. I'm choosing not to glue it. But I do have my base here. I chose cardboard for mine. Maybe yours is the popsicle sticks. Maybe yours is foam. Maybe it's something else entirely. Not sure. If you want to go for the extra credit, we're going to be adding in some landscape architecture. We've talked about that a bit during this unit, so this is your chance to kind of show off what you've learned there. Now, there are so many possibilities, and I guess depending on how many craft supplies you have at your home, that can also kind of help or not harm, but you know, it can help you, or it might make you get more creative. Surprisingly, I don't have a lot of craft supplies that would be like landscape architect-ish, like that fake moss, for example, or little pebbles. Like I just don't have that stuff. So I went outside instead. I went outside, walked around the park, walked around my yard, and I found things like this, right? Just like I could glue that there. Boom, we've got a little pine tree. How cute is that? I found little sticks. You can make a little fence out of that, or maybe I make it into a tree. Maybe I cut it down. That part there, that's kind of cute. Maybe I break that down. I could save this for another part. And I put that there as like a tree that lost its leaves already. Maybe I want a tree that has leaves, or maybe I want a shrub. I found in my my bathroom, I found some cotton balls, and I was thinking I could take this and maybe like a toothpick, or maybe one of those branches that I found outside, and make a little shrub out of that, right? I could take my green paint even, because I know obviously right now it's white, and we don't see many white shrubs. I swear, there, as I say, I swore I had a green paint somewhere. I do. It's right here. So I could take my green paint. Let's find a fun little paintbrush here. And take that green paint and add some green to my cotton ball. Color looks really weird, doesn't it? Let me try something. Does that make it a little bit better? No. Anyway, I'm painting it green. That's what's happening. I know that the color look there, that's better. Without the glow of the screen, you can see it a little bit better. Of course, I would want to do that more and all the way around. I could actually even take and dunk that into my green. My hands are going to maybe get a little bit messy if I do that, but that could be an option too. What were some other thoughts that I had? Oh yeah, another thought was, I was just looking around my home. What do I have? Looking outside. I did have these cool leaves that I've pressed when we went out for a walk, and I was like, oh, those are cool leaves. So I pressed them between some books, and I thought that that could make a cool ground if I glued those down. Let me move this out of the way. So I could just kind of like overlap them and glue them down and make a cool like ground area for it. So yeah, once again, pressed leaves could be kind of cool for yours as well. Another thought, I was going through my kitchen and looking around like, what do I have? What could I do? And I found some loose leaf tea. This is some tea that has probably been in our house for over a year and we're not really drinking it. Always check with your at-home mentors first, but what I was kind of thinking, this one really reminded me of grass, you know? So I was like, oh, I could take a bunch of Elmer's glue. Let's see. Oh, this one's kind of going dry. But I could take a bunch of Elmer's glue and spread it out with a brush, or, you know, we could pretend we're in kindergarten again and finger painting here. But spread that all out, and then get my tea here. Oh, it does smell good. I think I should make this tea. It smells so yummy. And you might want to add more glue to it over the top too, or shake it off somewhere outside so it's not getting all over your home. But you could do stuff like that too to kind of add a little more earthy texture to it, make it look like grass. Maybe you go outside and find some little pebbles or stones and make a little pathway leading up to your home. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a slide, and I will link it in our landing page, and then of course it's in the slides if you want to just look at it from that way, of some ideas of like different things that you could find maybe out in nature, or kind of common things that might be in some of your homes that you could use then for, you know, adding some landscaping if you choose to do this. As a reminder though, the landscape portion of this is for extra credit, so don't feel like you have to do that part, okay? And then our goal is going to be to have this all ready to be photographed by our next class, because we're on day 10, which means it is due on day 10. So we are getting there. The finish line is in sight. Finish strong. Can't wait to see them.